What is going on, my good people? Welcome one, welcome all. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Ramble Report here today as we go over the news and happenings in the video game space. Well, mostly just really what I'm playing. I'm thinking that the Friday show will be more kind of just diving into what I'm playing and talking some video games and taking the community questions from Patreon and from the YouTube members. And once again, thank you Patreon supporters and YouTube members for, backing the channel and keeping the lights on over at the old Unnecessary Rambling studio. Greatly appreciate y'all. And shout out to Vin, Sadik, and Captain Corndog for supporting at that shout out tier. So shout out to you all. So yeah, man, hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all are enjoying the kickoff to the festivities for the football season. And I watched that Cowboys-Eagles game last night while playing some Donkey Kong. And we'll talk a little bit about Donkey Kong in a bit. But yeah, watch that. And it was a really damn good game. Unfortunate ending if you're a Cowboys fan. I'm not really a fan of anybody. This damn chair. I'm not a fan of this chair, that's for certain. My fat ass keeps on breaking this motherfucker. I sit in it and it just sinks on down. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of any one NFL team. Like, I was a fan of Julio because Julio came from where I come from, but I wasn't really like a fan of the Falcons per se or the Eagles per se. I just was like, yeah. I hope Julio wins the title, which unfortunately didn't happen. So damn close. That Falcons-Patriots game, 28-3, the comeback, Tom Brady going absolutely mental, and the offensive coordinator, or I guess defensive and offensive coordinator for the Falcons kind of having a mental collapse there, and just, yeah, awful game. But we're not here to talk about football. We're here to talk about the video games. And got a lot to talk about in the world of video games, but before we do, let's hop on into the Patreon and YouTube member questions. If you want to support at Patreon or become a YouTube member, either avenue you can choose, jump in, support wherever you want, and at that $5 tier or higher, you unlock the ability to ask questions every single week to the show, and I take every single question. So it's not like a lot of the other podcasts out there where it's, we'll pick 4 or 5 questions, go through them. I take every single one of these motherfuckers, which are only 4 or 5 questions typically because, once again, very, very small community, but I am very grateful for each and every single one of you, and if it becomes to a point where we get 20, 30 questions, well, fucking that just benefits me and benefits y'all even more, because I'll just do a whole separate show where it's nothing but questions, and we'll build it around the questions, and that way this show doesn't become a 7-hour thing. We'll have 2-hour shows, 2-hour-long shows, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I will continue to take every question on the old Patreon question thread and the YouTube member question thread. So consider supporting over there if you feel so inclined to do so. And without further ado, let's talk. Justin Parkhouse says, what game do you think you've put the most hours into? So, individual game, that is where it becomes tricky. I think probably for me, it would be Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I think for like an individual game, for one game that I've put the most time into, I think it would be Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And not the definitive edition that you're seeing on the screen here, but just the amount of hours that I've spent roaming through Grove Street, and I've talked about it a million times, but just going and lifting the weights and then eating the food and doing the training, the boxing training and the running on the treadmill and just living life as CJ, going on dates, playing arcade games, playing pool, going to play basketball, doing lowrider shit, doing home invasions. Like, I just lived in that world. And even when I went back to it last year to replay it, or a couple years ago, it gets immediately, that's like what I want to do in that game. And I don't feel that way about most games. Typically, I don't feel this urge to like, oh, I want to just go roam around and exist. But in San Andreas, I just feel the urge to run around and exist. And I don't know if it's just the immersive kind of aspect of the simulation stats that make me want to, like, it ticks some part of my brain where I immediately want to go in there and start dicking around with that and start I have this urge to go in there and max that stuff out and get my build of CJ to be the build that I want, and go and get the tattoos that I want and the clothing that I want. And like, something about this game, it's just so hard for me to put down once I pick it up. But if we're doing overall franchises, it's probably NBA 2K. Maybe SmackDown versus Raw, but see, that's the thing. If we're doing SmackDown, the franchise SmackDown, spanning from PS1 to 2011 on the PS3, so we're talking 99 to 2011, that would probably be number one. But I don't know. I still think maybe 2K takes it there if we're talking overall franchise. Individual games, San Andreas. Overall franchise, probably 2K. I, began playing 2K. This is the trailer for 10. 2K10 is the game that really got me in the door. But I mean, I played 2K back when AI was on the cover, and 2K5 with Ben Wallace, and I played, all of these games throughout the years. I just preferred NBA Live more than 2K until right here with NBA 2K10, and you're seeing the different shots, and all the players had their own like move sets, and like you're seeing Chris Paul, dishing out the passes, Melo in the post, and everybody had their own sort of play style for the first time that it was so identifiable that LeBron was playing like LeBron, Dwight was playing like Dwight, Melo was playing like Melo, and it was so realistic in comparison to what I was playing with NBA Live. This blew NBA Live. It wasn't even close. It was not even close. And see, I think that I would probably have to say NBA 2K. In terms of overall franchise, I would probably have to say NBA 2K. NFL 2K5 is certainly up there as well. If we're going just overall individual game, I think NFL 2K5 would be somewhere close under San Andreas. SmackDown vs. Raw 06 would be in there. It would have to be stuff that's multiplayer, has multiplayer components to it. You know what I mean? Like single player games. I guess San Andreas did have a multiplayer aspect, but I mostly played San Andreas. But see, I don't really look at San Andreas playing it as a kid as a single player thing, because I would just pass the controller back and forth with my buddies. So it wasn't like most single player story centric games that you just sit through and finish, and there's no like open world to live in. I'm not really going to return to those too many times. I'm not going to play those too often. But games of that ilk, Resident Evil 2, of course, 1998. That's a fully single player, very linear, very restrictive experience that I've played many times. RE4, but Resident Evil games are so infinitely replayable. Yeah, right. Resident Evil, I think RE4 Remake I played through, 3 times now already, and it just came out in 2023. I can't think of any game from the past 5 years that I've replayed 3 times, already. And then RE4 is like, I'll probably replay through that again before RE9 comes out, potentially. Like, I just love playing that damn game. But yeah, I'd say NBA 2K as a franchise, individual game, I would go Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Sean Ward writes in and says, you've mentioned that platformers aren't exactly your favorite genre, so I'm curious, is there something about the core design of platformers that you find limiting or less engaging, or is it more about the genre or more about how the genre is typically executed? For me, games like Hollow Knight, Ori, and Psychonauts seem to push creative and artistic boundaries while offering a relaxed experience in between the more intense titles. So, I like this question because it makes me think about it makes me think how insane it is that I speak so often that I don't even remember the words that I said. Because like, I love platformers. I love 3D action platformers. Astrobot last year I think was in my top 10, top 8, something like that, favorite games of 2024. I absolutely adored Astrobot. I thought it was just so charming, so enjoyable, so fun, so lighthearted. Like you said, a bit of a reprieve from the more intense, time-consuming games out there. And I adored this thing. I thought it's a masterclass in video game design. And And then, you know, with like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I think that was in my top 10 for 2021. And, you know, Psychonauts 2, I also believe was in my top 10 for 2021. Sly Cooper, I love the Sly Cooper games. Crash Bandicoot's one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. So it's like, I think I really like platformers a lot, but I'm sure, like, I'm not debating. I bet that I have said some fucking disparaging shit about platformers. That you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. It's the worst and best thing about content creation is that, especially doing it how I do it, where there's no script, there's no plan. I just kind of come in here off the cuff, shoot from the hip. Some days I'll just wake up and I have a sore neck. And I'm like, motherfuck everything. And I might say some dumbass shit that I don't even feel. I like platformers. I've always liked platformers. I don't know. But I don't doubt at all that I've said that. I bet with 100% guarantee that I've said some stupid ass shit like that before. I got a comment the other day where a viewer was like, they were replying to something that I said in a different video. And it was something to the effect of, I think I said that Black Myth Wukong wasn't nominated for Game of the Year last year at the Game Awards. And they were like, bro, Black Myth Wukong was nominated for Game of the Year. And I swear to God, I recorded that the same day that the reply happened, or maybe the day before, whatever. But no world would I have been able to remember that I said that. And my memory is definitely starting to fade more and more as I get older. But no, I love platformers, and I love action platformers in specific for sure. Maybe okay, now that I'm starting to think, maybe did I say something about 2D platformers? Because 2D platformers I don't often vibe with quite as much as 3D. I love 3D action platformers in specific. Just 3D collectathon platformers, like I never liked Spyro, which is more, you know, it's an action platformer as well to some degree, but I don't like collectathon style games as much as I like. Is this running at 4K? I'm getting so damn techie. I'm looking. I was like, it looks like 1080p. We can't have the viewers watching 1080p footage. But no, I you know, maybe I was talking about 2D platformers. I don't vibe with 2D platformers nearly as much. I don't find them limiting per se or restrictive. It's just, I don't know. I didn't grow up with 2D platformers. I played your Marios and I played those games, but I never connected with them. Whenever we got to the 3D space, you know, and I started playing games in and it's not like I liked Neva a lot. I like, there are 2D platformers that I enjoy, of course, like your Insides and Limbos and stuff of that ilk, but I think there's more connective tissue there for the story to kind of hook me in, and there's elements there that I find a little bit more appealing than, you know, just kind of like, here's a 2D space, go run around and jump. And I think I'd like Ori a lot for that same reason. But yeah, like Hollow Knight, no appeal. Metroid, you know, like Dread and all that, no real appeal. And I think a big reason is because when I hear people talk about those games, I never hear them talk about the story. I'm just a story-centric guy. I like stories. I'm old. I want to sit down and consume a story. I want something to make me feel something, you know, and I'm not really looking for, like, you know, some brutal challenge or anything like that. I get absolutely no satisfaction from finishing a difficult game. I get satisfaction from finishing a game where if it's difficult and I really like it, you know, like a Sifu or something like that, like I just love the combat, but I don't really feel satisfied for beating it. I feel satisfied because I feel like I understand that combat and I had just a good time piecing everything together. So it's, I often find a lot of the 2D, you know, platformers to be more catering towards that style of experience, like the get good thing, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm too old to fucking get good. I don't have time to get good. I think I talked about that in a recent video where it's like, you don't have a skill issue, you have a time issue. It was something that I want to make a video on that, like a, not an essay style video, but something where I have some written thoughts out about it, because written thoughts, that's gonna be like 2 bullet points and fucking my dumb ass will veer off on a total tangent. But I don't think that anybody has a skill issue at all, unless literally like you're disabled or you have some sort of, you know, some condition that prevents you from reflex issues or whatever the issue might be, neurologically or physically or whatever. But I don't think that most people have any skill issue. I think if anybody plays games at all, like if you play games for a few hours a week, you can finish any game on the market. I mean, I think there's obviously barriers there when you're talking about multiplayer. Of course, because when you're playing competitive stuff that's designed around true mastery, like, not, okay, here's a 20-hour thing and it's going to take you 3 hours to finish a boss. And it's like some degree of mastery, but like true mastery of, holy shit, these dudes there's a skill ceiling of like, I'm playing at, I think, a 10 out of 10, and somehow this dude's playing at a fucking 200 out of 10, and I'm wiping the floor with everybody around me in my local area, just whooping their ass in 2K. But then I go and play this dude, at like a national level or a global level, and he's like top, 10 in the 100 leaderboards, and I'm like 87, and it's not even, he could do it with his hands tied behind his back playing with his feet. You know what I mean? That type of shit. There's, in those instances, yes, no doubt. There is actually, that's a true skill issue. And it's a time issue as well. Like if you had that time, but I even think that there are some cases where it's not about time in those scenarios, where it's just, that motherfucker's really good. He has some kind of knack for this thing. But in terms of like the ability to finish a game, you can finish any single player game if you have the time to put into it. Sure, some people are going to be naturally better than you, but you can finish any single player game if you have the time to put into it. I'm just running out of time. I feel every day like I don't want to start fucking whining and bitching and moaning. I'm thankful to be alive in 2025 and I have video games to play. I have it's a great life, a fucking blessing of a life that I've gotten to live to this point. But with that being said, I also don't have a whole lot of time. Like every day, it seems like when I look down at the phone, at the clock, it's like, shit, I got like 2 hours until I got to try to take my ass to sleep. And if that, time just fucking flies. And it feels like when you get older, and I don't even know what I'm rambling about at this point, but it feels like it flies on a totally different level, man. It's horrifying. It is fucking horrifying that there are no hours left. There are 0 hours left in a day. And yeah, it's a bummer. But at the same time, I guess you'd rather be busy and getting shit done and trying to be productive, opposed to like, I don't, what would the alternative be? You know what I mean? Like, I guess I'd rather have too few hours than too many hours to spare. It's all silly nonsense. But at the end of the day, I like platformers. That's my roundabout way of saying I like platformers. I do like platformers. I do like 3D platformers a whole hell of a lot. I just I don't like 2D platformers as much. Although there are, like we went through, there's quite a few 2D platformers that I enjoy as well. Next up, let's head over to Vin on the YouTube membership side of things. He said, here's one. I've always coveted sports titles offering a historical component as either a standalone title, which we've never even got on console, or properly incorporating historical teams into existing sports IP. As we know, this has been underutilized, meaning only the NBA 2K franchise has offered such nostalgic sweetness, at least on a first-class level, i.e. Jordan's career, etc. My question, can you imagine for a moment how much it must suck to have only been passionate about 2 NBA teams in one's lifetime? The early 1990s Phoenix Suns and the mid-1990s Indiana Pacers. Yeah, no inclusion of these historical teams in any NBA 2K title. Let's see, no inclusion of these historical teams in an NBA 2K title forever. How's that for being born under a bad sign? From one 2K fan to another, will Barkley or Reggie Miller ever appear in an NBA 2K game? End violin music. That's funny, man. I don't know. would like to think so, but I think kind of what you mentioned there in terms of like the historical elements of some sort of, like you said, Jordan's career thing or LeBron's career thing where you could pick to go to the Knicks, the Bulls, the Raptors. You could like alter his career and have this sort of this mode that would play out where you were getting to dictate the decision and I guess redictate the decision and make different decisions with LeBron. And so, let me take a drink of water real quick. I think that would be the only way that we would see Barkley or Miller in the game is if the game was centered around them to such a degree that they got paid handsomely for having like an entire mode based around them. Because it's all a money thing, right? Barkley has said like, I don't want to sign up because they're not paying the legends enough. And it's like, okay. Okay. And I'm not even saying you're lying per se, Barkley, but if they offered Barkley a cool 10 mil just for him, and then the other legends still got paid what they got paid, I think Barkley would be in NBA 2K. Same with Reggie Miller, which I don't think Reggie Miller I don't think he's given a reason for why he is not in the game. So maybe his isn't even necessarily due to the same financial restrictive, how they're paying players and all that. But So trying to think of like how they could roll out a mode with Miller and with Barkley to get them included in the game. You would probably have to do an alternate path style scenario, the same that you did for LeBron. And it's like, okay, well, does Barkley go somewhere else besides the Suns when he leaves the Sixers? I think that maybe, do you team up Barkley and Miller? And so maybe you go later in Barkley's career as he's kind of ring chasing. And do you do like 1997, 98 or so and have Barkley go to the Pacers? Or maybe you have both Miller and Barkley leave and join another team. Or you could do, say 1998, like a total fantasy style scenario. Say 1998, the Bulls, they win the title and Jordan's about to retire, and there's like some public spat that breaks out where Pippen publicly states like, well, you can't win without me. You've never won without me, to Jordan, right? And they would never put this in an NBA 2K game, but just, let's kind of shoot the shit here. And so a public spat breaks out, and Pippen's like, you'd never win without me. You've never won without me. You never will win without me. And Jordan's like, all right, well, I was planning on going golfing for the rest of my life, retiring, enjoying the golf course before coming back to the Wizards, of course. But he didn't know that at the time. I don't think he knew that at the time. But so I'm planning on going out and enjoying my life on the golf course, right? Okay, so you're challenging me now. You're saying I can't win without you. Well, you leave Chicago, leave town. You try to win without me and see how that works out for you. So let's say Pippen goes to the Blazers early. And because he went like 2000, 99, 2000, something like that. Scottie Pippen went to the Blazers. Say he goes 98. And of course, contracts and shit wouldn't it wouldn't really work out that way. But let's say he gets traded to the Blazers, however you want to work it out. He goes to the Blazers. And then say it's a contract season for Miller and Barkley. Once again, you'd probably have to do trades and shit like that, which would make it a little bit more difficult. But whatever. So Miller and Barkley also end up on the Blazers as their ring chasing. Or as Barkley's ring chasing, he ends up on the Blazers. Miller leaves the Pacers. I don't know why Miller would leave the Pacers. But for the story, let's say Miller leaves the Pacers. And I guess this would have been... Jermaine O'Neal was drafted... 99, so I don't think he was on the Pacers in 98. Could be a little bit wrong. No, Miller. I'm wrong on that. I think Jermaine O'Neal was there a little bit earlier than that. but I don't think they had quite the squad because when the Pacers were really the fucking when they were about to take it all was that season when the Malice in the Palace happened and Jermaine O'Neal was suspended for like I think the entire season or like 50 games. Artest was suspended for the rest of the season. Artest was having like an MVP style year that year. I think they could have won that year. But anyway, not talking about all that. Miller, Barkley, Pippen on the Pacers. And the entire goal is like to beat Jordan. So like kind of think Undertaker WWE 2K14 beat the streak mode, where the entire goal is to make it back to the NBA Finals in 1998 or 1999 to beat Jordan and the Bulls. And so it's like it's a mode where you're getting to get Reggie Miller a ring, Barkley a ring, and potentially dethrone Jordan and like make Scottie Pippen's career painted in a totally different light. As like, oh damn, Scottie Pippen was really the guy. So once again, that's very, very, very far out there, but I think that would be cool, turning the Blazers into some super team. Or you could do it with any team. You could bring Scottie Pippen to the Pacers. That might make more sense. Scottie Pippen goes to the Pacers. Indiana, Reggie Miller seemed happy in Indiana, and then Barkley comes over there to ring chase, and so yeah, there's different avenues that could have worked out better than going to the Blazers. But I also think that you go to the Blazers and say you have, and I'm not like a Blazers fan. I don't know why I'm so fixated on the Blazers. I guess just because Scottie Pippen went to the Blazers in real life. But if you go to the Blazers, you also have this scenario, which you probably wouldn't have this because of the draft situation. But Rasheed Wallace ends up on the Blazers in. Was Rasheed Wallace class of '98? So you might can paint this to where Rasheed Wallace is already on the Blazers when Pippen goes over there, and then Barkley goes over there, and Miller goes over there. So it's because Rasheed's not in NBA 2K either. So you have Rasheed being entered into NBA, or unless he was entered in last year. But when I was playing NBA 2K, Rasheed wasn't in there. So you have Rasheed, Barkley, Miller, Pippen. That's your big four going up against Jordan. Jordan probably goes and grabs somebody. I don't even know, man. Boy, oh boy. My brain is working overtime right here thinking of these rosters from 1998 and 1999. Blazers 98 was Abdul Rahim fucking I think, was he with the Blazers? So that would have been, oh, this is embarrassing. I'm thinking, I don't know why Bonzi Wells just came to my head. Trading Bonzi Wells for Scottie Pippen. I don't know if that's gonna be necessarily the trade that the trade that Chicago green lights. Bonzi Wells and Shareem Abdul-Rahif. Yeah, damn. I'm totally fucking blanking on Blazers players from that time period. I was 4 years old at the time, but I'm not saying I'm a historian of the NBA or whatever, but I think that I definitely wouldn't say historian, but I fucking love that sport for sure. I think I could go through a lot of those rosters from those different eras, and even eras I wasn't alive for, and recount a lot of the players who were on those teams. I fucking love the NBA so much. God, I love it so much. Damon Stoudemire, I think, would have been on the Blazers at that time. There was that big ass white dude that I can't think of his name. That actually might have been a little bit later. I'm thinking of LaFrance. I think I'm starting to kind of veer into like 2000s territory. But anywho, yeah, getting Rasheed Wallace into the game while getting Barkley into the game while getting Miller into the game, that three-man run right there, that would be pretty fucking dope. And having a story based around all of them, that would be pretty nasty. This is bumming me out that I can't think of more Blazers players. Travis Outlaw. Was it Travis Outlaw that was small forward. I think that was a little bit later. That was like 2000. Anyway, all right, enough fucking rambling about the Blazers. I appreciate the question, man. I could talk basketball all damn day. I can't talk new basketball, which is unfortunate. Like I can go from probably early 80s to about 2016 and be able to carry on like a healthy conversation with anyone who was a fan from any of those decades. But when we get into the 2020s, I don't know. I once again coming back to that situation of no time. Like I don't fucking have time to keep up with the NBA today and know the rosters. And like I know Jokic and I know fucking Kevin Durant and I know like the big names, but Kevin Durant was kind of before the 2020s. Of course, he came into the league in 2007, 2008, something to that degree. Maybe 2006 actually. No, 2007, I believe. Braun, 03 draft class. Dwight Howard, 04 draft class. So, yeah, I think... anywho, this a video game podcast. 45 minutes later of talking about basketball stats. So, the next question we have up here comes from ZGuy115, and he writes in and says, your recent video predicting the 6 Game of the Year nominations made me realize how stacked this year was. What is your favorite year for game releases? So, favorite year of all time for game releases. And yes, 2025 is loaded. Stupid loaded. And you hear all the time people being like, oh, it's a bad year for games. Gaming's dying. It's like, yep. You can't. There's not too many better years than the year we're currently in for gaming. So if gaming is dead now, then boy, oh boy, it has been dead for a long time. But let's take an actual look at the landscape, for some of these different years, because 1998 is probably, it's the year that comes to my mind first. So you're seeing on your screen here, we got Metal Gear Solid 1, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Fallout 2, Half-Life 1, Banjo-Kazooie, Baldur's Gate, StarCraft, Resident Evil 2, Xenogears, Crash Bandicoot Warped, Parasite Eve, Panzer Dragoon, Spyro, Tomb Raider 3, Thief, F-Zero, Medieval, Pokemon Yellow. You're going into Oddworld, Oddworld, Abe's Exodus. You got a lot on here for 1998. Another one that hits my brain immediately is, and I guess we can kind of 2004 is fucking stacked as well. So 2004, you're looking at Halo 2, Half-Life 2, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Doom 3, Knights of the Old Republic, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, World of Warcraft, Burnout 3 Takedown, The Sims 2, Far Cry 1, Need for Speed Underground 2, Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 1, Chronicles of Riddick, Silent Hill 4, Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal, Red Dead Revolver, Spider-Man 2, Def Jam Fight for New York, Prince of Persia Warrior Within, Thug 2, Metroid Prime 2, Sly 2, Mortal Kombat Deception, Fable 1, Jack 3, Killzone 1, X-Men Legends 1. You are stacking the everything or nothing. 007 everything. NFL 2K5 isn't on here, but NFL 2K5, the greatest sports game of all time in 2004. 2004 is fucking up there, man. You're talking about two of the greatest sequels ever, Halo 2, Half-Life 2. You're talking about the best Grand Theft Auto ever with San Andreas. World of Warcraft changed everything. Knights of the Old Republic was, the breakout game for BioWare. MGS3 is considered to be the best Metal Gear Solid game of all time by a lot of people. Of course, World of Warcraft just changed gaming. The Sims 2, people love The Sims 2. Burnout 3 Takedown is still, I don't know about most people, I would say probably most people's favorite Burnout game of all time. Far Cry comes along and the new IP that would go on to dominate for decades and decades after. Literally we're 2 decades from Far Cry's release, and it's still having tremendous success. Need for Speed Underground 2 was excellent. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1, Chronicles of Riddick, just these new IP kind of. So it's got legacy titles, franchises, new IP. Def Jam Fight for New York is god tier. Fable, new IP popping up. I mean, 2004 is certainly up there. And let's go 2001, because I know that that's one with, we got GTA 3, Silent Hill 2, Final Fantasy X, Max Payne. Oh boy. Let's see. Devil May Cry popped up onto the scene in 2001. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Smash Brothers Melee. Now, this list is lacking a little bit. There's better games than this that came out in 2001. Is this IMDb? Does this have it by rating by? Yeah, because we got Metal Gear Solid 2, GTA 3, Max Payne, Final Fantasy X, Halo Combat Evolved, the first fucking Halo game in '01, Fallout Tactics, Golden Sun, Silent Hill 2, Sonic Adventures 2. Let me make sure the screen is okay. Yeah, everything's looking fine. Jack and Daxter 1, Twisted Metal Black, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Spider-Man 2, Inter Electra, Luigi's Mansion was '01, SSX Tricky was '01, Fatal Frame was '01, and some of these might, Simpsons Road Rage, Onimusha. So, okay, I wouldn't say, let's be fair, '01's not on par with '04 or '98. I don't think that would be... Yeah, because we're in the top 50 and we're talking about Simpsons Wrestling. I don't think '01 is on par with '04 or '98. Okay, so right now I'm in between '04 and '98. But let's go back and what are some other all-time great years? 2000 and... I mean, listen... I think 2023 is up there for one of the best years in video game history. 2023, you're talking about Tears of the Kingdom is one of the best games of the generation. I think that most people would agree with that. Spider-Man 2 is an incredible video game. Baldur's Gate 3, I think, would probably be the game of the generation so far for most people. That or Elden Ring. Which 2022 was a good year, man. Well, I don't think it's on par with 2023, but we'll look. Jedi Survivor, one of the best, if not the best Star Wars game ever. But if it's not the best Star Wars game, you know what is? KOTOR, and that came out in 2004. So kind of right there once again with that looking back at '04. Alan Wake 2, incredible. Final Fantasy 16, god tier. Street Fighter 6, I liked that a good bit, and I know that kind of reignited the Street Fighter fandom to a large degree. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, a return to form for Mario. Diablo 4 seems a little bit like the hardcore kind of got bummed out by some of the content updates, but at launch it seemed like people really loved Diablo 4. Armored Core 6, the return to Armored Core in over a decade, and then that thing set the world on fire critically, did really, really well. Obviously didn't have the same commercial success of something like the Souls games from FromSoft, but still went on to have real success in terms of critical response. Hi-Fi Rush, new IP that came onto the scene and just took the world by storm. Excellent video game. Resident Evil 4, the remake, I mean, completely... that is the way I will play Resident Evil 4 for the rest of time now. Like, I will go back to that remake before I ever play the original game again. I just think it's one of the best, most fun fucking video games that I've ever played in my life. Starfield, I think Starfield's incredible. I think that story is absolutely god tier. I think it's the best Bethesda gameplay loop that we've ever seen. Dredge, I think, is just exceptional in terms of the idea of the isolation at sea and going around and trying to deal with these, Cthulhu Lovecraftian inspired monsters. And Hogwarts Legacy, the best-selling game of 2023, one of the best-selling games of the generation, a generational defining title that came out for one of the most beloved IP in the history of fucking beloved IP, and now they finally have their dream game for it. Sea of Stars was excellent. Lies of P was excellent. Dead Space remake, Dead Island 2. Yeah, you 2023. Phantom Liberty was 2023. Chia, Yeah, 2023 was really, really, really stacked. I don't think, once again, I don't think we're talking '04. I don't think we're talking '98, but very, very stacked. Let's look at 2022 real quick. I don't think we're talking. Yeah, no. It was Elden Ring, Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok. The three big games. Stray was solid. Lego Star Wars was good. Pokemon Arceus, people, the Pokemon fans seem to really like that. I love Sifu, of course. Splatoon, Tunic. A lot of indie, smaller games that kind of popped up in 2022. Plague Tale Requiem, one of the best stories of the generation, if not the best story of the generation. But 2022, like objectively, a slightly weaker year. And then 2024 was nothing to write home about. 2024 solid. You know, the big games being Helldivers, Rebirth, Wukong, Dragon's Dogma 2 to some degree, Astrobot to some degree, ReFantazio to some degree, Indiana Jones to some degree. Like, I love a lot of these games a lot, but if we're talking like big impactful releases, I think we have Astrobot as a pretty big impactful release, Wukong, Helldivers 2, and I think that might be about it. But still a good year. Still a good year for 2024. I don't think we've had like a bad year. That's actually, what was the last bad year? 2021 maybe? Village, Rift Apart, It Takes Two, Deathloop, Dread, Hitman 3. Even that's not a bad year. You got Returnal in there. You got Forza Horizon 5. You got Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. So you got like a solid top 10 games that are like really, really good. So my top 10 here, you're looking at probably 1 being Village, 2 being maybe Rift Apart, 3 being Guardians of the Galaxy, 4 being like Forza Horizon 5 in there, It Takes Two, Deathloop. I mean, I could put together a top 10. I think Lost Judgment was this year as well, and that was excellent. The Forgotten City would be in there. Yeah, so 2021, not as strong of a year in recent memory, but we're not talking about bad years. So let's get back to good years. Okay, so right now it's between '04 and '98. Let's look at 2007. I think that was a really good year. That was Mass Effect's year, right? Bioshock, Halo 3, Uncharted 1 was '07, God of War 2, Assassin's Creed 1, Mass Effect 1, new IP, The Witcher 1. So we had Bioshock 1, Portal 1, Uncharted 1, Mass Effect 1, Assassin's Creed 1, Crysis 1, The Witcher 1. So we're at 7 like prominent new IP. That's about it. But I mean, that's still fucking good. 7 new IP pop up, and we're talking about the top. What does this list feature? How many games are we talking? 42 games, so 7 out of 40, yeah. But it's still, hey, this is a good year. This is a really good year. Bioshock, Halo 3, Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, Portal, Mario Galaxy, God of War 2, Crysis, Uncharted 1, Team Fortress 2, Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect. Yeah, I don't, once again, '04 and '98, it's not on par with those, in my opinion, but still a fucking great year. Other great years that could be in contention. 2010 was solid. I think it's going to come down to '04 and '98. That's what I'm realizing. 2010, you had Red Dead 1, Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Mass Effect 2, Limbo, God of War 3, Alan Wake 1, Bioshock 2, Heavy Rain, Mafia 2, Fable 3, Fallout New Vegas. Solid year, but not '98 or '04. So, okay, it's going to come down to '98 or '04, I'm thinking. Let's actually take one more look at 2011. That was Skyrim's year, correct? Oof. 2011 is stacked. Skyrim, Arkham City, Portal 2, Uncharted 3, Battlefield 3, LA Noire, Dead Space 2, Infamous 2, Gears of War 3, Dark Souls, Little Big Planet 2, Modern Warfare 3, Deus Ex Human Revolutions, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Killzone 3, Saints Row 3. Yeah, that's a good year. Witcher 2, NBA 2K12, Super Mario Land 3D. Not on par with '98 or '01 or '04, I mean. But let's go back to '98. 1998 video games. you know what we got to do here? We got to put this to the task. So let me pause this recording real quick. So what we're going to do to find the best year in video game history, let's go 1v1 until we get to, let's say the first two, I'll write this down that way I don't forget. How about the first two, 5? Yeah, let's say the first to 5. First to 5, I'm going to write it down. And we'll go game by game to see which year. And I'm only going to look at this. I'm going to take myself out of it. I'm going to try to look at overall importance, overall influence, overall kind of impact in the industry. These games going 1v1 against each other to find the best year in video game history. So Halo 2 for 04 versus Metal Gear Solid 1 for 98. Oh my God. Metal Gear Solid 1, that kind of you storytelling is birthed with Metal Gear Solid 1 in terms of this new cinematic sort of presentation and voice acting being really solid. But Halo 2 kind of, that opened it up to online play on the consoles. And I'm going to go MGS1, where we're going to go 1 point to 98 here. So MGS1, I'm going with that one over Halo 2. That's tough. Half-Life 2 for 04 versus Ocarina of Time for 98. I would go Half-Life 2 all day, every day, but I think Ocarina of Time is looked at as one of truly the greatest games to have ever fucking existed in the history of ever. I think it's still, if I'm not mistaken, the highest rated game in Metacritic history. We can look that up as well. I love this on the fly production. Yeah, listen, man. Ocarina of Time is still fucking number one. It's the only game ever with a 99 Metacritic score. So yeah, we're gonna go another point there for 1998. So that's 2 points for 98 versus versus 0 for 2004 right now. But we have San Andreas going up against Fallout 2. That's not even close. That's San Andreas by a mile. So 2004 with 1 point on the board. And then we have Half-Life 1 in 98 going up against Doom 3. That's not even close. That's another point for 98. So that puts 98 at 3 versus 2004 at 1. And we're going best to 5. I don't know. We could go best to 10. Best to 10. Make it fun. Because you got to see also, it's not just about the impact of like the big games. You got to go to see who had it's quantity and quality. That's what defines a really great year. Can't just be like 10 front-loaded games and then the rest of it's dog shit. So we have Banjo-Kazooie at 98 going up against Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Ooh, for 04. I think you go KOTOR for 2004. On that one, that's tough, but I think you go KOTOR. So that's 1998 with 3 and 2004 with 2. And so now we have Baldur's Gate 1 from 1998 going up against Metal Gear Solid 3. I think if you asked most people, they would say MGS3 is probably the better game. Influence, impact, we don't really get to Baldur's Gate 3 becoming this mass sensation until 2023 with Baldur's Gate 3. But, I think you got to go MGS3 over Baldur's Gate 1. So, it's 3-3 now. Tied up 3-3 from 98 and 04. StarCraft, huge fucking impact for StarCraft versus World of Warcraft. Oh my, you can't, almost nothing is go. World of Warcraft, after World of Warcraft released in 2004, literally every fucking publisher was trying to create their Warcraft, their World of Warcraft MMO style clone. Like, nothing fucks with World of Warcraft. Not nothing, but damn near nothing fucks with World of Warcraft. So that's another point for 2004. 4-3 right now. If this was a 7-game series, 2004 just won it in the final game. Resident Evil 2 from 1998 versus Burnout 3. Maybe it's biased, but Resident Evil 2, I think, is more impactful than Burnout 3. Let's see. So now that puts it at 4-4. 98 and 04 tied 4-4. The Sims 2 versus Xenogears. I think you go Xenogears there, so that pushes 98 to 5. 2004 at 4. And then we have Far Cry versus Crash Bandicoot Warped. I mean, yeah, Far Cry for sure. So that's another point for 2004. So this is close, man. It's 5-5 right now. Sonic Adventure versus Need for Speed Underground 2. Me personally, I'm going Need for Speed Underground 2. Overall impact, I think you go Sonic Adventure. That pushes 98 to 6 versus 2004's 5. Then we have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines going up against oh boy, I'm butchering this. Okay. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines versus Parasite Eve. You probably yeah, I think you're going Parasite Eve there. So that pushes 98 up 7-5 here. And then we have Panzer Dragoon Saga versus Chronicles of Riddick. Either way, I don't think that I would assume Chronicles of Riddick sold quite a bit better than Panzer Dragoon Saga, but neither one have like mainstay kind of impact or relevance today. But probably Panzer Dragoon over Chronicles of Riddick. So we're going 8-5, 1998 with 8, 2004 with 5. Then we have Spyro the Dragon going up against Silent Hill 4. Spyro for sure takes that, so that's 9-5. Tomb Raider 3 versus Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal takes that. That would be 6-9. So 98 only has to have 1 more point, and 2004 has to have 4 more points. Thief, The Dark Project versus Red Dead Revolver. Oh, man. So, listen, Red Dead Revolver didn't really do anything at all. It you know, you can make the argument it started everything, right? Like Red Dead Revolver, that's where everything comes from. It begins with Red Dead Revolver, but it's not Red Dead Redemption that we're talking about here. And I mean, this is Thief 1. This is the first Thief game, and it would go on to have great success. Or I shouldn't say great success. It never really sold all that well, and Red Dead did sell really, 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 really well later on. But Thief 1 versus Red Dead Revolver, I hate to say it, I would take Red Dead Revolver, but Thief 1 had more of an impact than Red Dead Revolver. So 10-6. 1998 takes the win, 10-6. I think for me personally, I think my favorite year of all time would probably be 2004. Just looking through that list, that's a me-ass year of video games. But I do think 98 probably had the most impact of any year in video game history. So, yeah, that's a 50-minute long explanation to that. I love years. I obsess over years. You know, I just think that that's such a fascinating kind of concept of like going through and chronicling, you know, the releases and kind of everything that happened into just a condensed year and weighing years up against one another. I don't know why I love that so much, but I absolutely fucking adore that. So appreciate the question, man. So the next question comes in from Captain Corndog, and it says, so Rematch seems to have patched their trophies. I just went in and cleaned up the platinum yesterday. My question for you is, what is your most recent platinum /100%, and what does it take you to go out of your way what does it take you to go out of your way for one, or do you just earn them if you earn them? So yeah, definitely more so that, you know, I just kind of earn them if I earn them. And But I appreciate the heads up on Rematch. I will certainly be going through and getting that platinum because I'm right there. I think I'm at like 97% or something. So I pretty much the only thing I have to do is go and level up, and that was the thing that was gated where it wasn't letting. I think it had us to where we couldn't level up past like level. They didn't unlock at level 10 or something like that. So I never got the trophy for hitting level 10 and level 30 or whatever the two trophies were. But yeah, with my platinuming, my 100%ing, it's pretty much just based upon like if I am playing a sports game or playing a game that is a non-story, like if it's something that has a story in it, I really don't focus on platinuming it at all. I don't really care whatsoever about that. If it's story centric, I want to just play the story. You know what I mean? I just want to, because if I start looking at the platinum trophy list, I get distracted to the point where, and also sometimes I'll spoil myself. I'll see something that I don't want to see, even if it's just a mechanic spoiler where it's like, take out 3 guards with this one tool that I don't have yet. And I'm like, well, damn, now I know that I'm going to have that tool later on in the game. And so I try not to do that. I try not to spoil myself for later events that could occur in the game based on, looking through the platinum and looking through the trophy list or achievement list. But for sports stuff I don't care about, like, there's no story to take in. There's nothing to spoil. Even if there is an ability that I unlock later on, I don't really care all that much. And so sports stuff, I tend to look at those trophy lists a lot more. And so like I platinum college football 26. That's my latest platinum. And I'm not a platinum guy, even with sports. I'm not a trophy guy in kind of really any capacity. I will mostly just play through the story, and if I look at the trophy list after I've finished the story and I'm sitting there at 70%, 80% completion, I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, all right, fuck it, I'll just go ahead and knock this off, especially if it's a super breezy game, super simple, chill. I don't do the click button, get platinum. I don't give a fuck about that. But I also don't like, I'll see people say, well, yeah, I go out and I try to platinum the games that I really love. I don't really do that either. Like the games that I really love, once I put them down, I pick them back up when I just want to play them again. And sometimes I do want to go in and play them and get trophies and stuff like that. But I tend to find that hunting for trophies hurts my enjoyment more than helps my enjoyment of games. Where it's like, oh, well, go and stealth take down 45 guards without using some key mechanic or whatever, right? And it's like, well, I would never play the game that way naturally, and now I'm playing a game that I really like in a way that I don't like, and it's not really, it's hindering my enjoyment more than it's helping it. So I don't really look at that list much at all, unless it's something that's multiplayer centric or story centric or something that I'm just kind of listening to a podcast while playing. So yeah, but definitely without a shadow of a doubt, I will be booting Rematch back up and at least getting those 2 trophies. But yeah, I not the biggest trophy or achievement hunter per se. I think I'm at like, I like the level. I like the level system. I like to look at that level and be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm level, I think I'm level like 390 something, 391, 392 on PlayStation right now. And sometimes that does bum me out where I'm like, damn, I know I'd be at least level 500 if I had my PS3 trophies, which I've been trying to go back and play through some of those PS3 games to get, just not even necessarily to get platinums, because once again, I'm not really doing that, but just to go and I like looking at the end of the year of my trophy list and be like, okay, well, here are the 30 games that I finished in 2025, or the how many ever games I finished in 2025, and getting to look at that list and having it, because when I put together lists at the end of the year for backlog games that I finished, or for my favorite games of 2025 or hidden gems list, I often do look to my trophy list, and so I like it more for a catalog, more of looking at it to see like, what have you played, and going through and going through the list of what I've played, and then making a list based on the list of what I've played. So I really like it for that, for the categorization, the kind of cataloging everything, more than I like it for more than I like it for actually hunting the trophies. But yeah, I'm watching this rematch gameplay, and it's I'm kind of distracted, but I guess that's one of the problems with on the fly production. I'm like wondering what's gonna happen here. We're in overtime, and then we got a game brewing. I apologize for the audio listeners, but I'm sitting here watching my damn footage from rematch, and I don't remember what the fuck happened here. I'm on the edge of my seat. I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit here and watch this footage to see what the fuck happens. I'll break it down for the audio listener. So it's 2-2. It's a tied up game, and so I get the ball. I hit a little juke move. Do I pocket it? Okay, yeah, I'm that dude. Don't fuck with me in my rematch. We get shit done over there. So rematch certainly. I already know. I haven't played it in months now. I am going to get back into that shit and get absolutely fucking slaughtered. But that's one of those games that is just so unbelievably addictive. Like, addictive to a degree that is scary, man. Rematch is one of those games that could suck hundreds of hours away from me if I didn't put it down. But I guess I'm going to risk jumping back into the rematch waters, grab that platinum, but I'm going to have to hop out of it or I'll lose my life to it. That game is so goddamn addictive. Yeah, so I think those are all the Patreon submitted questions and YouTube member questions, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That is it. So thank you guys so much for writing in, and no fucking around with these questions. You know, it's not I don't fucking drop like 2-minute long answers and then keep it moving. I actually like I love these questions. They're fun questions to go through and shoot the shit about and actually dive into. So I greatly appreciate it, guys. And if y'all want to write in, you know, we'll once again, on the fly production here, I'm able to go through and we can pull up. You ask whatever the hell you want on that thing, and I can make that shit happen. Within reason, but push it to the limit. If you want to see some crazy shit pop off on the next question, let me know and I'll try to make some shit happen. I can do all sorts of on the fly production here. We can see what we can do, and then have visual aid and visual elements to these questions as well. I love this on the fly production shit. I've actually, since I've been doing this, I'm like, man, I can maybe see a world where I'd like to just produce shows for other people. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to quit doing this show. I love doing this show as well, but like, maybe I could fucking apply for a job somewhere as like just a producer. I obviously have a lot more to learn, and I've been wanting to do this show as a live stream, but I'm so fucking scared of that, because if something goes wrong live, it's like, you ain't going back and editing that. If you completely butcher the fucking, because like now it's like, okay, well, shit, I ran some B-roll and it looked choppy or whatever the case may be. I could really, at the end of the day, I could download this video and just go and screen record, B-roll that looks better and place it on top. And so there's things I can do to fix and adjust, but live, you can't do that. And if the audio's bad live, I can't go in and post and edit it. And I'm so scared of fucking shit up live. But let me get more acquainted with the system that we have here at hand, and I probably will start doing the show once I get more comfortable with OBS, because this is, we're in week 2 of me using OBS and using this new MacBook. So give me, I don't know, give me some months. I don't want to promise anything too early. Let's give me some months to get acquainted with this shit and get things up to speed, and I might actually do some like Patreon and YouTube member live streams or something like that to test the water, to make sure everything's, the audio's all okay and that the video's all okay. But we'll keep everything as is for now. Keep doing it as is. But I definitely want to do more live streams and more, just sort of live podcasts and shit like that with you all, and just shoot the shit with the chat. So yeah, man. That be the questions. Now let's talk about what I am playing. So I finished the old Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. I went through, wrapped that up. I think that's the only game on my list that I have finished. It's been there's so many games coming out that I want to play, so many good games. And I've kind of just been in a mood lately where I'm like, I don't know. I just want to dick around, dabble with this a little bit, then go in, dabble with that a little bit. And I'm not really in the mood to like lock in to finish anything other than Metal Gear Solid 3. I did finish this, and I it's a great remake. I love it. It's not a Silent Hill 2 remake. It's not a Resident Evil 2 remake. It's not a Final Fantasy 7. Like, this is a true faithful as you can get remake. It is a game that, as you see, I'm going through and just chopping up I'm chopping up the leaves. I'm chopping up the plants. I'm out there just seeing what kind of fucking reaction can take place if I start chopping at random objects. As one does, I guess. But, I think that Metal Gear Solid 3, it's the remake. I think all of its strengths are what the original game's strengths were. The storytelling is top notch, and obviously the new perspective with the third person over the shoulder view, it's going to be appealing to a much wider audience, and people are going to be able to get in the door. And there was a report that came out today where Metal Gear Solid 3 sold over 1 million copies in its first 24 hours on the market, or a little over the first 24 hours on the market, like a little over a day. It sold over 1 million copies. So I mean, this thing has, we're going to get Metal Gear Solid 1. We're going to get Metal Gear Solid 2. I think that's almost certain. When a game is selling like that, Silent Hill 2, remember, the first week, I think it sold 1 million copies, something like that. So this seems to be selling better than Silent Hill 2, the remake. And, it's confirmed that we're getting Silent Hill 1. So this is, I would say, almost an absolute guarantee lock. As you see me fucking drowning. I think it's a lock that we're gonna get Metal Gear Solid 1 next up as well. And I assume that they're gonna do the exact same thing that they did, where they go in and they contract Bloober to do Silent Hill 2, and then they contract Bloober to do Silent Hill 1. I assume Konami's gonna contract Virtuous to remake MGS 1, just as they did with MGS 3, and it'll be exactly in this vein. Very, very faithful as you get. And I think that there's some like cool tweaks you can make in the settings. You can like turn it on to an action movie filter, and you make it look like this big 1980s styled action movie of sorts. And you can turn off like all the UI elements. So the compass, you can remove the health meter, you can remove the reticle, you can remove and just have it like it's this super immersive 1980s Rambo styled action movie. And I always loved the systems at play with Metal Gear Solid 3. I love that. Okay, my if I'm not eating, if I'm hungry and my stamina is low, then I can't aim as well, and you're hearing the hunger pains as you've gone without food too long. And just some of those systems at play with Metal Gear Solid 3 that you didn't have with the original two games, or I shouldn't say the original two, but the first two Metal Gear Solid games, MGS 1 and 2 on the PS1 and PS2. It's just those little elements of the camouflaging yourself as you're seeing there, and just the amount of mud that is caked up on a Snake at this moment here, where it adds like an extra layer of immersion, where in the first game I don't think it was quite that degree, where if you were in the mud, if you were in these different environments that would should attract some sort of debris, some sort of something on your clothing, where you're seeing as Snake's getting shot, the bullet wounds are sticking on to, like, you see the blood, you see the scarring, you see all of that still taking shape in the cutscenes. And you still, like, there's like loading screens with all the same doors, and then in between the same zones. So there's some of that stuff where it is a little bit of this, you can tell it's definitely, it's a very faithful remake of a PlayStation 2 game in all of the best and worst ways possible. You're thankful that it keeps in a lot of the humor. You're thankful that it keeps in a lot of the charm of the early 2000s. But at the same time, it's like, sure would be nice if I could sprint. Sure would be nice if I could swim properly. And these things that would just make the game better. Would just make the game better if the loading screens were less frequent. It would sure make the game better if, of course, any kind of frame rate issues, anything like that shouldn't, that's not acceptable. That's never been acceptable, period. You know, if we're talking PS2, if we're talking any, like, you should always have a stable frame rate. I personally didn't experience too much of that. Like, my frame rate while playing the game was always pretty consistent. I'm not saying, like, I'm not a frame counter. I don't know if it was at a consistent 30 or if it was at a consistent 60, but it was always fairly consistent. And, yeah, so I didn't have many technical issues. I would see a little bit of popping. Like, there's, not to spoil anything, but towards the end of this game, when you're on a motorcycle, I'll just say, that's when I really started to see some bad frame rate dippage, like very, very bad. I would assume mid-teen range bad, like definitely not a locked 30. It was very, very unstable in that final section, or shouldn't say final section, one of the final sections. But I'm thinking about that final kind of stretch of the game, and no spoilers, but it's just so funny playing as Snake throughout this, or, you know, playing as Boss throughout this game, and how you can go through so much of it without really having to worry too much about, you definitely have to eat, and you definitely have to take care of Snake to some degree, but Ava, man, it's her old hungry ass. Goddamn, Ava comes into the scene, and you're like having to nonsense. How the hell? Didn't you just eat a damn? Didn't I just feed you a fucking snake? Why you're still goddamn hungry? I don't know why I find that so funny. It's like, why the fuck you so hungry? But yeah, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the game, and I think the backstretch of Metal Gear Solid 3, once again, avoiding spoilers, it's God tier. It's absolutely God tier. The final two fights, absolutely God tier. Boss fights in this game in general, absolutely God tier. And yeah, it feels excellent to play. And then they also went and they remade that, the damn, let me see, I think I took some gameplay of it. I'll find it real quick. Yeah, so you'll see it here. This is the they remade, obviously, MGS3 from the ground up, but they also remade, what's the name of this shit? It's the Guy Savage. Yeah, Guy Savage. This was a game that Konami had in the works. They were developing this, and they ended up canceling it, but they left the prototype, like they left this build in Metal Gear Solid 3 initially, in the original, and they kept it in remake, but not only did they keep it, like they full on remade this build, and it's fucking nasty. Like, this plays really, really well from just a solid character action game standpoint. I would love to see this get a full-on remake and become an actual game. Like, it has the dark, moody, gothic kind of Bloodborne, Castlevania-esque aesthetic here, and it's light, it's fluid, you're popping enemies up in the air, and it feels fucking good to play. Actually, no, I don't. Are you popping enemies up in the air in this? I might be misconstruing this with Lost Solicide, which I've also been playing. I'll talk about that in a second. But, I think the whole spinning attack thing that you're seeing on the screen, like, it just feels damn good. And then you get into this rage mode. Let me see if I can find that bit of gameplay. So yeah, right here, he's about to hit this rage mode, and he's just going to go absolutely fucking nuclear on these enemies. Just constant spinning attacks, fast moving, lightning quick, super powerful. And yeah, I played about 20-30 minutes of this thing, and I was having a blast just mowing down these motherfuckers. And then there's like some boss encounters that pop up where these vampire style creatures pop out of their coffins, and you're having to fight them as they're spawning more of these demon creatures to come and take you on. And I'd be totally down. And then you see right there, you have like the perfect dodge system, the witch time, or whatever the hell you want to call it, where you dodge at the perfect moment, and the screen goes into black and white, and all the enemies are standing still, and you're still able to move at rapid speed. And yeah, I was like, fuck yeah, this is fun as hell. I'd be so down to see this as a full-on game. And speaking of Lost Solicide, I played probably the first 3-4 hours of Lost Solicide, maybe first 2 or 3 hours of Lost Solicide. I think this game's really good. I was really enjoying Lost Solicide. Like, it's one that I don't know if I necessarily feel compelled to finish, because the story wasn't, I wasn't totally gripped by the story or anything like that. It's kind of think of that vein of like your Chaos Legions in the PS2 era, where it's definitely a DMC clone of sorts, a DMC inspired title of sorts. But like, even here with the platforming and the movement and shit, I was like, this just kind of feels good. It just kind of feels good to play this game. And then when you really get into the flow of action, which once again, I'm pretty early on, so I'm not even close to having all the abilities and capabilities that later players have. Like, I've seen clips where people are going absolutely mental and have some cool ass powers that I haven't unlocked yet. But just having the perfect parry and the perfect dodge, and you have that the companion of sorts that's with you, and it unlocks this, you become this more powerful version of yourself, and or you have these big ass hands, and you're doing these huge attacks that deal a ton of damage, and it's just, I could see this game, the more and more that you play it, probably becoming more and more enjoyable. But yeah, I did like that a lot of the characters, like when they're talking, even though the voice acting isn't necessarily incredible for Lost Solicide, it's also human. It feels very human, and it's not a thing of adults sounding like 12-year-olds when they're speaking, and I appreciate that. I was able to get into the story a little bit more because of that, but once again, you're really not here for the story, you're here for the action. And yeah, at first when I was playing, I was like kind of struggling a little bit. I couldn't really get the feel of it. It felt a little bit floaty. And then, like I said, you lock in, you get your perfect block, your perfect parry, and all the fusion attacks and special attacks. It's obviously, very inspired by your Final Fantasies from a visual standpoint, and then your Devil May Cry's from a gameplay standpoint. But I don't know, we don't get a lot of games like this. We don't get a lot of DMC clones anymore. Like, that whole genre sort of died out in the mid 2000s. So playing this kind of in a weird way felt fresh. It felt like a Final Fantasy 16, which I adored Final Fantasy 16. I had so much fun playing through FF16. But the thing with me with this game, that like, it feels kind of big budget at times, where you're seeing some of the presentation, like some of the cutscenes and shit like that. I think they're about to go to a cutscene right here on the screen, if I'm not mistaken. And like, yeah, you're seeing, it's like, this looks fairly impressive. I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying it looks like a $300 million production, but it looks good. It looks like a genuine AAA game, and supposedly they made this under like $15 million or something like that, with PlayStation funding it. So great use of resources. It's a good looking game. I think it does look pretty damn good. It ran pretty damn good the entire time I was playing it. The world building is solid, as you're seeing there. Like, the buildings off in the distance are like toppling over, and it's getting into the flow of action right here. You're popping enemies up in the air, doing the whole juggling effect, get them up in the air and just keeping them up there, juggling them. And I did kind of get into this mix where it's like, oh, that seems very, very OP. I pop him up in the air, and then I think I hit square, triangle, and then I hold triangle down, and he does like this dagger attack that he sends the enemy back down as he's like doing this spinning attack with his sword. But I'll skip ahead here to the boss fight. I think, do I have the boss fight in here? Because I was impressed by the boss encounter in Lost Solicide, and I think I'm, once again, 3-4 hours in. I've faced a few bosses. I've been fairly impressed with the boss design. Overall creature design, overall enemy design, I haven't been blown away by that per se. It's been fairly generic. It's been a lot of those style of creatures that you're seeing right there. Not a ton of variety. Once again, you're talking about a game that's on a whatever $10 million, $15 million budget or less, so I'm not expecting world-renowned, top-of-the-line enemy design and top-of-the-line variety, but I haven't been overly impressed with the enemies. but I have been digging the actual bosses, and it's not the most challenging game in the world. It's been a fairly straightforward experience. You're able to get through it pretty quickly. Most of the bosses don't take all that long to finish off. It could get much, much, much more difficult the later you go on, but so far early on, it's been pretty straightforward getting through the boss encounters. And once again, I don't mind that. I do not at all mind a simple, because like Final Fantasy 16 was really damn chill, really damn simple. You could breeze through Final Fantasy 16 no problem at all. And it's about the spectacle, it's about the story, and that's kind of the thing with Lost Soulside, where it's like I don't know if I'm going to continue on with it, because it once again has nothing to do with the fact that it's easy. It's just the fact that I'm not into the story. I like the combat a lot, but if I'm not really into a story, I tend to not finish the game, even if I am enjoying the combat. But this is one, it is $60. I don't know how long it is. I would assume probably somewhere around that 20-hour mark or so. But if you're playing it, and if you've finished it, let me know, man. If you finished Lost Soulside, let me know about how long it is, because if it's only 10 hours or so and I'm 3-4 hours in, I'll definitely power through it and just kind of see if the story takes a different turn, or takes shape in a different way that I'm not expecting, or if there's anything decent from a narrative standpoint. If I only got to put another 7 or so hours into it, I'm totally down to continue playing it. But so far, so good. I don't really have many complaints whatsoever, other than the narrative not being all that strong, but it's also not awful. Like, it's a totally competent little story from what I've experienced so far. I'm hearing people say that the characters sound flat and the voice acting's not that good, but to me it just sounds like humans, opposed to like adult humans, opposed to adults that sound like children. And it's like, I would much prefer characters to sound a little flat, if that just means they sound human. And maybe I just kind of sound flat, and then I'm used to, maybe some slightly boring, monotone kind of dialogue. As I guess if that's what's going out of my mouth, I guess that's what's going on in my head, as I'm hearing my own inner monologue. I guess it's the same fucking boring ass voice. But I don't know. I haven't been too, like, of course you're not talking world class voice acting. There hasn't been a moment in Lost Soulside where I'm like, oh my god, I'm moved by that performance. But it sounds like humans talking like humans for the most part. And yeah, I don't have many complaints with that at all. I also jumped into this game Bad Cheese for a little bit. This is, we talked about it in a recent video, where it's kind of has that mouse PI for hire, the golden age of animation, that kind of 1920s sort of aesthetic there. 1920s into like the 40s and 50s, like kind of has that vibe, the black and white, the old school Disney sort of feel to it. And I was there for that, and kind of that alone, if I'm being completely real. And then when I booted up the game, I was like, oh yeah, good call, because I don't know. It's not bad at all, but it pretty much is just a first person kind of walking sim style of adventure game. And that's fine. And there are cool elements here where you're getting this fly swatter, as you're seeing on the screen. And I forgot to grab gameplay of it, so here's the trailer. But you're seeing like the vacuuming elements, and you got this sock loaded turret that you're shooting socks at moths, and so there's certain things going on in Bad Cheese that I appreciate to add just a little bit of variety from a gameplay standpoint. But if I'm being completely real, I'm kind of out on the whole idea of like, okay, I'm going to walk around in first person and solve these pretty generic puzzles. And I shouldn't say overly generic. I just think that I don't know what the hell I was expecting. I should have known that this is what the game was going to be, but it pretty much is like a first-person horror walking sim, and it is very unsettling. I will totally give it credit in that department. It is very, very unsettling. I'm thinking the theme of the story is going to be abuse-related regarding, I assume, the father. It might even be the mother, but there's a lot of like, open beer bottles laying all around the house, and he definitely has some fear of his father, and he's like kind of constantly wanting to run back to his mom, and it's very unsettling, very, very unsettling. And just the voice work alone, like major props on that department. You know, when talking about flat voice work with this little mouse fella, man, he fucking his voice actor delivered to make this shit as creepy as possible. There is a lot of emotion put into this, and yeah, it's worth checking out. I think it was it $14.99? I don't think it was $19.99, because I remember like seeing the price and being like, yeah, that seems fair for Bad Cheese. But yeah, if you're liking what you're seeing on the screen here, and you're down for a creepy, unsettling style of story, I would say it's worth, you know, not $20 definitely, maybe not even $15, but if you see this for like $9.99, you know, on a sale, I probably would pick it up if you're in the mood for a first person, you know, horror adventure style of game. It's definitely, at the very least, from a visual and from an audio and from a voice acting standpoint, one of the standout games of the year so far. But speaking of one of the standout games of the year so far, Heading Out is certainly in that camp for me. This is a game about you're playing as a character who is on the run, and you're not quite sure why you're on the run. You're famous to some degree. You're hearing your name, you know, spoken on the local radio airwaves. You're a national icon of sorts, but you're on the run. You don't really know why, and the whole story is kind of uncovering why you were on the run, uncovering what you are running from, and your fear is literally catching up to you as you are on the run. You're seeing, like, there's a map, and it'll get into this when you're seeing the gameplay here in a second, but there's a map on the screen, and it's like a simulation of sorts, like a driving sim of sorts, but it's also, you're actually doing the driving. And it's kind of, in a way, a dream style of game for me, where it's a driving game where you're doing nothing but driving, but it's also very, very, very story centric. And it's seeing there the base setup of you're in this race and you end up dying in the race. And then a big component of the story is like you keep having this dream over and over again that you're back in that race, but you keep fucking dying. And so the loop is trying to figure out how you can finish that race, how you can prevent yourself from dying in that scenario. And I won't go into anything with that, but I was stunned by the end of this game, and it's a really, really strong story. This game has a very strong story. So yeah, shout out to Heading Out. Fucking great narrative. It's very like choice dependent, as you saw at the early part of the game there. You're picking your choices and developing your backstory, and you know, it has a thing where inside of the sim-esque features and systems in the game, it's like, okay, do I need to go into town and buy snacks and coffee and shit like that to keep myself awake? Okay, well, I got to make sure I have enough money to do so. So I need to make sure that I have been taking on these races, and, you know, people will spot me out in the open world, and they'll want to race me. And so I'm trying to skip ahead so you can actually see some of the gameplay here running, the footage running for you. But, you know, I got to make sure that I need to go and buy some pills or whatever to keep me awake, because I need to have my focus leveled up before the fear overwhelms me and I can't get to my destination, because you have that red line. The fear is tracking you, and whenever the fear catches up to you on the map, then you're fucked and you have to restart your run. And so a big feature is like, I only have so much time, I only have so much money, I have to figure out what to do in order to make sure I get to my destination before the fear reaches me, and also get to my destination where I have enough focus to actually compete in this race. So you see that red line that's behind the white line is your, you know, the motion you're making, the traction you're making, and the red line is following you. The red line is the fear that is trying to catch up to you. So you're just trying to outrun your fear. And then it shows you there where you're in the city, and it's like, okay, I can explore this town. And then when you go into exploring the town, that's when it's like, okay, these encounters are going to take shape. You're going to have the story beats that pan out here in town, and this is where you're going to make your decisions. And let me make sure that I let's see. 1 second. Boom. Make sure it's all on screen there for you. Okay, yeah, it shows everything for you on the screen. But yeah, this is where you're going to make your decisions and you'll kind of shape your character. And I don't think the choices necessarily have a ton of impact in terms of like shaping the end of the game or anything like that. I think that everybody's end game will pretty much roll the same way no matter the choices you make throughout the journey, but it's just kind of about the journey. You know, it's about it's essentially a road trip racer of sorts where you are on the run and you're on the run from your own fear, and you're going from town to town, staying at rundown hotels, and you're gonna run into one hotel and there's gonna be a dude in there who, you know, wants to fight. He's drunk, wants to fight. You're gonna decide, do you want to fight him? Do you not want to fight him? And then there's gonna be a cause and effect situation that takes shape depending on what you choose to do. Like, okay, do you fight him? Well, great. Now your focus is down, or now you lose certain attributes, but you gain respect, you gain reputation points, you gain fame points if you do choose to fight him. And then along the way on this map here that you're seeing, you're actually actively like pressing the foot of the gas down you're pressing your foot down on the gas to speed up. So you see the speedometer there raising. You can press that speedometer down and your car will go faster. You'll get to your destination quicker, but you'll also lose you'll lose more money per second. You know, because obviously the faster you speed, the more gas that's being burned. And so now it's like, okay, well shit, I need to account for that as well. Am I going to hit the next town and not have enough money? Oh, and damn, I hit the next town, I don't have enough money. I'm fucking on the run because I pumped the gas into my car and I take off, and now the police are chasing me. So now I got to outrun the police. I can't get arrested. And then, but if I escape the police, I gain fame. I gain attributes in that regard. But once again, do I lose focus? Do I lose, do I lose the ability to catch some shut eye? And it's these different elements that you're having to account for. And I don't know, I just really loved the journey. I loved stopping in at a local bar, and there's some chick who's, you know, she's hammered and she's telling you life stories, and you're getting hammered with her, and you end up, do you hook up with the chick? Do you not hook up with the chick? Is, you know, do you think you're being set up here, and there's like a situation where you might, you know, she's coming on to you, but it's in a shady kind of area. It's like, I don't know, I don't really need to stay here too long. And so there's just these different things that are going to take shape over the course of the game that, yeah, I don't know. And of course, this is the major component of it is the actual racing. And it's not a great racing game, I will admit that. Like, it's serviceable, competent, fine. I think the art style is impeccable, but there's a little bit of off-road racing taking place. You'll hit there's a back alley that you're taking. There's a dirt road that you're taking. You're having to make a little jump, but it's nothing. It's not like Burnout. It's not like Need for Speed, as you're seeing here. You hit the back alley. This is kind of the extent of what you're going to expect throughout the entire race, and you are going across the U.S. and you're seeing different scenarios and different landscapes. The mountaintops, you're seeing the damn, it's more so, it's more so kind of open plains like this than anything else. And you will run into racers who have the same voice from the racer that you raced previously, and it's a lot of repeated dialogue, interaction, and stuff like that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, there's not a lot like this, and I've constantly talked about and constantly spoken about how I just want a racing game with a story. So I felt compelled to support this thing. I felt compelled to actually put my money where my mouth is and be like, okay, if I want racing games, driving games that actually do tell stories and value storytelling to some degree, I probably need to support this. It is expensive. I think it was either $19.99 or $29.99. Let me actually check that before I just start running my damn mouth. I probably should check all this shit. Okay, so it is $19.99. Heading out is $19.99, not $29.99. So not too bad, but I could definitely see some people being like, all right, that's still a little bit up there. I got probably 6 hours out of it, something to that degree, before I finished the story, 6, 7, something to that ilk. But yeah, I couldn't put it down. I had to finish this, and as you're seeing, I'm totally fucking just stuck on the side. I didn't quite hit the landing on that jump there, but you can press circle, and you only have a certain number of reruns that you can do. You can only revive yourself a certain number of times before you're just totally shit out of luck, and you have no more left whatsoever. And so there is a little bit of challenge, definitely. It's once again, it's not like a incredibly difficult game, but there is some degree of resource management. There is some degree of strategy that you're having to, use to win these races, and to outrun the fear, if you will. The fear is constantly chasing you down, and you're trying to outrun the fear. And I think that I hope that something like this does well, because I think that there's a space for this with more budget to it. That, like, imagine a game like this where there are actual cutscenes, and the voice acting is incredible. The voice acting is really good in this thing. And you see, like, the radio station, you have like an Alex Jones style radio, broadcaster who he's obsessed with, like, fucking Hitler, and he's talking about the lizards, and the lizards are I can't do a fucking Alex Jones. They're turning the frogs gay. I don't. I've never tried an Alex Jones, but it's that kind of thing of the conspiracy theorist dude, and he's out to get you. He doesn't like you. I remember there's one scenario where he's mad at you for, like, outrunning the cops, or I think he said that you killed a cop or you harmed a cop or something like that. So he's freaking out about that on the radio, and it's just there's something about this game. There's a lot of charm to it. And like I said, the art style is great. I would love to see this at a higher production value, a higher budget. And Heading Out is really good. One of my favorite stories of 2025 so far. Really glad that I finished that. So I played a little bit of the Rogue Prince of Persia. I only played it because, it's on PlayStation Plus. And y'all know, if I'm being completely honest, anytime I hear roguelike related anything in 2025, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I have seen this exact thing 500 times over. So, listen, I'm a little bit bored of the entire genre. I will not deny that. But I will say, this is a damn good roguelike. Like, this plays really fucking well. I'll skip ahead a little bit into the gameplay here so y'all can get a look at it. But, yeah, this is from Evil Empire, the Dead Cells team. And great, just god tier animation and art style. It's a lot of these, like, purples and oranges and then bright yellows, kind of this, like, pastel sort of color palette, and then gives you like a, I don't know, it has like a, as you're seeing the sun setting back there in the backdrop, it does definitely seem to focus on colors that are reminiscent of the emotions that a sunset or a sunrise will evoke. And supposedly this specific art style was inspired by Franco-Belgian, which is a style of comics which were, from, I think, the 1920s that began in France and Belgium in that era. And then it's like they're combining that look with this sort of ancient Persian miniatures kind of aesthetic, kind of the more vibrant pastel sort of look, combined with the character design work from the Franco-Belgian comics of that era. And I once again, I don't know anything about the Persian miniature verse or the Franco-Belgian comic verse. I looked this up because I was so taken aback by the art style, just how, like, there's going to be a section in a little bit where it rolls into the title screen, and I actually felt like some sort of emotional response based on the damn title screen of just, like, looking at the imagery and being like, god damn, this is stunning. Like, true fucking artistry on full display here. And so I looked up, like, what is the source of inspiration for this game? And yeah, Franco-Belgian comics and Persian miniatures. So, but yeah, you're seeing the combat rolling here, and the wall running in particular is so damn satisfying. It felt so, like, the input felt so accurate. I never felt like while I was wall running that I was everything I was inputting, it was responding accordingly and appropriately based on whatever input I was putting in. And so you're seeing like the enemies here, they'll throw the bombs, but I think you saw a little bit there where the enemy will throw the bomb and there will be like a blast radius. So you can get, say there's 3 or 4 enemies around you, and you can get those enemies surrounding you, wait for the other enemy to throw the bomb, and then wall run up, and while the bomb explodes, it detonates and it kind of kills the other enemies, and you completely get to avoid it by wall running. And there's just some cool little strategy like that, and I don't think I have it in the gameplay, but later on you get these different abilities where, like, if you kick an enemy, there will be an effect where it turns into like this gluey sort of substance that pops up under the enemy and kind of keeps them from being able to move at their natural speed. And so you just have you just have enough kind of going on here. And once again, I'm not saying that this is rewriting the rules of what a roguelike is. Like, you've played games like this before, but I do think some of the elements like the wall running, just, it gives it that sort of Prince of Persia thing. Like, though the wall running is synonymous with Prince of Persia, and just how fucking excellent that feels in this game. I was constantly surprised by just how reactive it was. It never felt like it was doing, because that's the thing where so often movement is, it can be make or break in these style of games, where if you're not, whatever I'm inputting, if you are not responding according to my input, and I'm losing a fucking life or losing a run and having to restart based on your bullshit and not my bullshit, it's like, that's so frustrating in this style of game. But I never felt like that with the Rogue Prince of Persia. I always felt like it was doing what I was telling it to do. And that's just, that you have to have that. You know what I mean? Like, if I was making a mistake, then it was my mistake to be made. And if I was doing something right, then I was doing something right. It never felt like the game was overly punishing or overly forgiving. Like, it just the perfect kind of balance there. So, yeah. Like I said, that you have the I think they're called the medallions that right here you're seeing the bow. And so you get that extra, so you press circle and you can use the bow, and then your square, that's for your standard attacks, for your swords, and you have different weapons that you unlock throughout your different runs. I probably played a couple, like two-ish hours, hour and a half, 2 hours of the game. And, yeah, I got to a point where I ran into the boss. The boss completely fucking whooped my ass. I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to really complete a few runs on this and understand the mechanics before I tackle that damn boss again. But overall, like, I think it is pretty pick up and play friendly. Like, you get into it, you understand it pretty quickly, and there's not like some deep degree of difficulty until you do start running into the bosses and stuff. But like, standard enemies, standard platforming, it none of that is all that challenging. Like, you get it pretty quickly. And I don't know, it was nice to have this instant pick up and play ability that I think that a lot of these games kind of lack. And I think that that's a reason that a lot of the stickiness isn't quite there for a lot of them. Because, it is all about, like, you want to enjoy that first moment of play so much. Like, when you immediately touch the controller, you want to be enjoying it, having fun, and that's the thing that's going to make you come back. And I think a lot of roguelikes get that wrong, and it's like immediately brutal, immediately super challenging, and it's like, well, who's going to really want to go back to that? But this just, I don't know, it has something to it where it just fucking feels really good to play, like, from the moment you pick it up. So yeah, I think I will be probably, listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not a roguelike guy. I don't, this genre does next to nothing for me at all, but especially like the story that is being told here, like, they try, but there's no voice acting. It's all text and stuff like that. They're not really trying to put much effort into the story, which is fine. Like, that's not what this genre is for. But I'll probably run it back a couple times and be like, okay, cool. I think I've seen it. I think I've done it. But I do want to run that. I think I recorded when it cuts into the title screen. I just found that to be fucking gorgeous, man. When it runs is it all the way at the end? Damn, don't tell me I didn't grab it. Hold on, let me pause. I really do want to find it. There was something about that was so special. Okay, yeah, here it's about to pop up right here. Um, as he's sliding down, and that Rogue Prince of Persia, that title screen hits. Golly, man, that is just stunning to me. Even looking at it now, even after the wow factor, the surprise of being like, damn, that's a beautiful fucking, like, this is the second time I've seen it, and I'm still like, good lord, that is absolutely gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous video game, and it's like, I don't even necessarily, like, I think the gameplay is good. It's totally competent, a well-made video game, but I kind of just want to go back to this world to be, to engage with a game that looks this fucking good. It is stunning, absolutely beautiful. So the Rogue Prince of Persia have been enjoying that as well. Speaking of absolutely gorgeous games and just aesthetically pleasing games, I have played a little bit of Sword of the Sea as well. This is coming from Giant Squid and some of the artists behind, obviously, you see the Journey inspiration there, and you see there's the pathless movement that's being inspired by here, and a little bit of Tony Hawk-esque skateboarding on your sword sandboard skateboard thing of sorts. And yeah, I probably put about 45 minutes, an hour into Sword of the Sea. It's just one of those ethereal sort of vibe games. You look at it, and it's one of those games that just kind of gives you a bit of reprieve, a bit of like clarity for a moment. It's you play this game and you feel this sense of like calm that just washes over you as you're roaming around these sandscapes. Is that a word? Sandscapes. But yeah, as you're just kind of roaming around, and once again, a great title screen that's about to pop up right here with the good old Sword of the Sea. Did that do a little loading? I don't like that. I don't like any kind of stutter. Let me make sure my damn internet's working functionally here. It seems like it. But yeah, it's a breathtaking game from a visual standpoint, and it's not like there's a ton that's necessarily going on here. You're kind of restoring life back to this world, and you're going around and solving different puzzles that will restore this world to like its previous kind of, I guess it's been overtaken by this sand or some shit. I don't really know necessarily the narrative hook, but you'll do different things, and you'll see the forestry start popping back up, the greenery. You'll see the like, oh damn, okay, now there's water that has hit this area, and what the hell is going on? Why is it doing the loading shit? Is it running? Weird, man. Don't fucking love that at all. Let me do a quick internet test. Well, fuck it. It seems to be working fine now. I'll skim past this part. Maybe it can't handle all those damn textures, all the sand textures. And I guess I'll pop back in to see some more sand textures to see if it can handle those. But yeah, you see like you're jumping around, and you have these different platforms that you're leaping off of, and you're on your little sandboard, and you're going and lighting these lanterns, and then that will pop up these new platforms that you can go and leap off of, and they'll give you a boost, and you're leaping into the air. So there's like just some cool, fun puzzle solving mechanics. And Austin Wintory is the composer who, he's done some fucking epic soundtracks in the past. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the main guys on Journey and the Pathless as well for the soundtracks there. But he's done a lot of work, and even in the AAA space, and yeah, so well-renowned composer working with well-renowned artists and creating something that is art. Once again, like, this is a work of art, and then I think most, if not all, games you could define as a work of art. The fact that any of this shit is created is mesmerizing to me as my fucking technical dumbass. Like, I wouldn't know how to begin, but it is a beautiful, beautiful video game, and it's one that, once again, I look at it with so much reverence and so much appreciation for the fact that it exists, this sort of Zen experience. I think that it's these things are worth their weight in gold as like therapeutic measures. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that there's a benefit to these games for just having something that is so unbothered by the like progression, difficulty, all the things that can at times get in the way or annoy you about video games. Like, it kind of removes all of those elements, and it's just an experiential based kind of thing. It's really not trying to be anything other than a vibe, anything other than an experience, anything other than a work of art that is like to be looked at and admired as much as it is to be played. But here comes the but. There's always got to be a but in there. Like, I don't feel much desire to go back to it. It's like, I'm glad I checked it out. I appreciate the fuck out of it. I have nothing bad to say about it. I don't know if I really need to play it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I know I need therapy. I don't need this damn thing reminding me as I sit there, and I need to be calm, but my brain just can't fucking calm down. It's like, yeah, I get it. Something's not computing here in this mental headspace of mine. And as I'm playing this thing, that it's just a constant reminder of me to calm the fuck down, and I just can't do it. It's like almost this weird opposite effect where it's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why does this not work for my brain? Why am I not getting the calm effects that I know everyone else is getting? As you see me fall off the platform there. Maybe that's why my dumb ass can't platform and I'm getting frustrated. No, it's such a non-frustrating game. It is such a chill game. It's just, I don't know. It's a work of art. It's fucking beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. And I think actually right here, this shot that they're about to come into, as you go through this door here, well, I think I go off and dick around to the side. Let me speed this up to go through this door. I think this is a really beautiful shot as well. So I got to go back up and do all the platforming again. But just as like you're coming into this sort of enclosed, you're seeing the light shine through there, and I think it opens up as you kind of go around this corner here. Yeah, you're about to enter into this door, and it all opens up. It's like just fucking beautiful, breathtaking. The sand pouring down like waterfalls, and yeah, it is a very, very, very gorgeous game. Very gorgeous game. Shout out to it. Sword of the Sea on PlayStation Plus right now. But let's close out with a little Donkey Kong talk. And damn, this shit is running at a horrible, horrible frame rate. I apologize, guys. I don't know why. Maybe when I uploaded the video, I uploaded at 30, because you can't upload straight from the Switch 2 for your footage. You got to like actually download it to your phone and then upload it to YouTube. Some just extra layers of compression there. Definitely does not run this poorly on Switch 2. I think it does run it like at least it feels like a pretty solid frame rate, like a solid 60. I could be wrong on that, but Donkey Kong Bonanza is so fucking fun. I have been, look at that, you're jumping on top of a dam. You grab some fucking gravel, you grab a rock out the ground, you grab a boulder, and then you're surfing on that damn boulder. You don't get any more fun than that shit, dude. So once again, I was watching the I just had such a chill night last night, actually. I was watching the Cowboys-Eagles game and playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. Got some Ben & Jerry's ice cream that I ate after playing Donkey Kong after the game. Just a glorious. I think I ate fucking Chick-fil-A for lunch yesterday. I was just pigging the fuck out. Got on the scale this morning, weighed 241. Just brutal. Absolutely fucking brutal. I gained like 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. But anywho, that has nothing to do with Donkey Kong. Even though Donkey Kong, he's a hefty fella as well. But he's got the muscle. I don't have the muscle. It was nice, man. This is such a game that I play, and this, I know it's crazy to talk about Sword of the Sea as kind of the relaxation thing, and I guess everybody has their different version of what relaxes them. You know what I mean? Where I play this and it's like Limp Bizkit ass, give me something to break. That feels relaxing to my brain. Punching shit, wrecking shit. Just there's something therapeutic about taking a fucking boulder and smashing it through the world and having literal layers that are appearing of rock, of mountain, of different environments that I can take my big ass fucking whatever. He's not a donkey. I guess he's a Kong. He's a gorilla, ape, whatever the hell, monkey of some sort. I'm just taking damn Donkey Kong and literally wrecking every layer of environment that is surrounding him. I'm going through layers of world, and there's such cool design work here where not only am I wrecking shop and going through layers of these worlds, there's moments where I have to do it to progress past like lasers or something, where there's a laser that's angled low, so I have to dig down into the ground. And the fact that they have all these mechanics in place to where it's like, okay, I have a mechanic to punch up, I have a mechanic to punch down, and when I punch down, I'm digging through the fucking layer beneath me, and now I'm able to submerge myself in like some sort of mine situation, and I'm digging down, and then as I'm down I see the laser above me. It's like, okay, I got enough room above me, and so I start punching forward to get through it, but I'm going underground past the laser above me to avoid the laser. Or like there's a scenario, and it kind of has that Tears of the Kingdom thing, where in Tears of the Kingdom it feels often like I am going to be able to figure out how to best handle this scenario, this environment that is before me, where, okay, I don't know how I'm going to get to this other side, to this other platform, and I kind of don't feel like I did it the right way, but hey, I made it. I'm taking Donkey Kong and I'm breaking through the barrier, and then, say there's this big, gate that I can't pass through or whatever. Well, hell, I'm on the side of this mountain. Let me see if I can just break through the side of the mountain and pass the barrier to entry. It's like sometimes it just lets you do that. And it feels so satisfying every single fucking time, where it's like, yeah, I probably didn't do that the right way, but I did it my way, as Limp Bizkit once said, or I guess Frank Sinatra. But I mean, let's be real, if you're playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, you're listening to Limp Bizkit. And that's no disrespect to Donkey Kong Bonanza fans, because Limp Bizkit, obviously the more influential and better artist than Frank Sinatra. Listen, dude, it's just fun. I could go on and on about I unlocked an ability where I spin the left analog stick and I press A and I do a super spinny attack. I don't know what me going in depth in terms of like mechanical, the cool mechanical shit. Like, I interacted with a character called Grumpy Kong and Clapper Champ or some shit last night. And I beat those two bosses, and one was trying to step on me. That's about all I got. It's not one of those games where I don't really know how to go into like the storytelling for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I will say production values and animation quality, and like they are trying to tell a competent story here. I don't give a fuck about anything that's happening in this story at all. I tried. I listened for like the first couple hours, and like, look, I mean, you see it right there on the screen. That's incredible cutscene value. Like, the cutscene quality is stunning. But I don't care about Nintendo stories, man. I just don't. I wish I did, and I think that will be probably the reason I end up not finishing this game if I don't finish it. I just don't care about the story. But I don't really care that I don't care about the story either. Like, I'm having so much fun just playing it, and I'm so impressed by the level of destruction that is on offer from a moment-to-moment basis, where I feel like I can literally destroy anything in this fucking world. And I'm enamored by that. I'm enamored by the fact that I can grab rock beneath me, pick rock up overhead, throw rock. Like, it scratches such a primal instinct inside of me that I didn't know I needed scratched, and it is fucking satisfying. And also the particle effects, and like it's an impressive game from a visual. I know that this footage is fucking horrible. I should have made sure it was rendered at 60. But it's an impressive feat on a technical level. I think this is one of the best games of the year without a shadow of a doubt. Even if it's something that maybe isn't quite for me 100%. Like, I don't know if is it going to be something I finish. I don't know. Like, I'm not overly compelled to finish it, but at the same time, I think this will just be something that throughout the months I put on, watch football. Like, while I was watching the Eagles and Cowboys, I was playing Donkey. I played like 3 hours of this last night. So maybe I just end up finishing it that way. You know, I'm just sitting there and fuck shit, watching football, listening to a podcast. Like I listened to a podcast last night, and that's the thing. I can't even sit here and say like the story's not good. I'm not fucking paying attention. I paid attention to the first couple hours, and I just stopped paying attention to the story. That's on me. I can't blame that on Donkey Kong. That's on me. I'm not even giving it a fucking chance, but I don't want to give it a chance. I just want to fucking break shit. I don't know. Sue me. Donkey Kong Bonanza is a good game. It's really fun. And I think that's... Let me make sure, but I think that's pretty much everything on my list that I have played as of late. So, yeah, man. Been enjoying the good old video games. Always something out there to fucking dive into. There's never a drought of video games. There's actually too many games and too few fucking hours to play them. What did Lil Wayne say? Too many bitches, not enough time. Something call my line. I don't quite have too many bitches, but I got too many games and not enough time to play them. So I guess that's a good runner-up prize. A good yeah, that's a bronze trophy. That's the show. There's some news that broke, but we're talking about, we're fucking 2 hours into this shit. There's no way you want to continue listening to my rambling. So I appreciate you. If you made it to the end of this shit, I'm sorry. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the rambles today. It's been a fun ramble fest, and I'll try to rein these in a little bit as we go. But thank y'all so much for stopping by. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Once again, shout out to the shout out tier members over there on the old Patreon and YouTube membership. Vin, Sadik, Captain Corndog, thank y'all so much for the support, man. And yeah, consider supporting on Patreon, becoming a YouTube member. You can write into the show at any time, and I will get that question read off every week. So yeah, consider supporting. And that's about it, guys. Appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. Let me know what y'all are jumping into. Let me know what y'all are playing. Is there too much on y'all's current log? And is the backlog suffering? Because my backlog is suffering. That shit is just stacking and stacking and stacking. It's like, goddamn, I don't think I'm going to get to another backlog game until like 2027, because 2026 is already so stacked with GTA 6 and now 007 First Light and Resident Evil Requiem and Onimusha Way of the Sword. And it's like all this other shit that I want to play. So, hey, gaming is dead, right? Modern gaming is dead. Nothing to play. I don't know what to tell you. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I shall see you good people in the next video. Oh shit, I'm fucking stuff up. Appreciate y'all. Goodbye.